Naruto has some of the best world building in all of anime, with lore and twists that recontextualize the whole series several times over before its ending. Perhaps no twist was more memorable or more hotly debated than the mystery of Toby's identity. Of course, we all know now that Toby is actually Obito Uchiha, and it's something most people even guessed at the time. You could hardly even call it a twist at all. That makes you wonder though, is Toby being Obito one of the worst kept secrets in all of anime? And then there's a bigger question, does it even matter? Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, please feel free to like and subscribe if you have a Kekkei Genkai that you just haven't unlocked yet. My name is TK, let's get into some anime. Let's start from the beginning. It's hard to believe that in 2024, but back when Toby was first introduced, he was mysterious. He was this odd goofball who somehow ended up in the Akatsuki. You couldn't take him seriously anytime he ended up on the screen, but was he really just supposed to be comic relief? Even at the beginning of Shippuden, there were always hints that there was some more to Toby than being a clown. The first moment I remember as a kid was watching Sasuke slash through Toby to get to Deidara, only for Toby just to walk away like nothing happened. Of course, Toby's mask eventually drops as he buys time against Naruto and the others to keep them from interfering in the Sasuke vs Itachi fight. This was a pin drop moment. Obito's entire demeanor just changed, and we even got the reveal that he had a Sharingan. From that moment, the forms were on fire. Who was this guy? You couldn't have a survivor besides Itachi and Sasuke and have him not be super important. Toby tells Sasuke that he's Madara Uchiha, but I don't think there's a single person on this planet that just believed them for a second. People started to comb through old episodes and started to dissect every single line of dialogue. It was a pretty fun time to be a Naruto fan. Even this early on, a lot of people thought that Toby was probably Obito, and this consensus only grew as the story went on. How did Obito become one of the leading candidates this early on? Well, the first and most obvious clue is the names. Obito and Toby sure do sound pretty similar, don't they? It's literally one letter away from being an anagram. It's the kind of secret identity you create when you're just a kid and don't know any better. It might sound silly, but this was a big reason Obito immediately came up on everyone's radar. Then there's Obito Kakashi's backstory. By this point, everyone knew that Obito and Kakashi were teammates, right before Obito died to save him and then before being crushed by boulders. Obito gave Kakashi one of his Sharingan, and the two left Obito to die. Well, I say left him to die, but we didn't actually see Obito die. It's implied, and in the situation Obito was in, it would have taken a miracle for him to survive. But this is an anime, remember? Unless you personally see someone's lifeless body on screen, they're probably alive. And most fans immediately wondered just how dead Obito really was. If that wasn't damning enough, then a lot of people really looked at Toby. We didn't see much of Obito's destroyed body in the rubble, but what we did see sure looked a lot like the spirals in Toby's mask. A little ridiculous? Yes. Did people genuinely consider this evidence at the time? Also yes. Then of course there's the fact that Toby only ever shows one of his Sharingan through the mask. Conveniently, the same eye that Obito would have still had. Then there's personality. From what we saw at the time, Obito was kind of a goofball in much the same way that Naruto was as a kid. Now, I don't think that young Obito and Toby acted super similarly, but a lot of people at the time sure thought that they did. Finally, there's Toby's Mangekyo ability. A lot of fans pointed out that Toby's Mangekyo is very similar to Kakashi's Kamui. Kakashi can make distant things disappear, and that doesn't seem too different from Toby making his own body disappear, is it? Heck, at the Kage Summon, Kakashi tries to use Kamui on Toby, only for Toby to tell him that the jutsu won't work on him. That moment all but confirmed that the two jutsu were either the same or super similar, though a lot of people had already theorized that before that point. Combine all of these factors together, and Obito was absolutely one of the frontrunners to actually beat Toby. You'll notice that I said he was one of the frontrunners, not the frontrunner. Who else did people think that Toby was? Honestly, just about everyone. Toby was such a mystery at this time in Naruto that just about everyone was suspected at some point. If I start going through all of them, then we'd be here all day. So let's just focus on some of the main suspects. One of the main suspects is Sasuke from the future. Yes, I'm being completely serious. Many people actually thought this. Basically, the idea goes that something terrible happens in the future, and Sasuke comes back to the past to fix things. Think of it like Future Trunks, except he came back to the past to destroy the world rather than to save it. Honestly, saying this out loud in 2024 makes me feel insane, but it was slightly convincing at the time, if only because it would have been pretty cool to find that out. There really was no evidence behind this at all, save that Toby and Sasuke were both Uchiha. How did Sasuke get to the past? I don't know, probably some Mangekyo thing or whatever. It is especially funny because Sasuke actually does go back into the past in Boruto. I like to think that the arc is at least partially inspired by all of the speculation around Toby being future Sasuke, but I guess we'll never know for sure. Then there are the other theories. A lot of people thought that Shisui was Toby. As far as I can tell, this is because we never saw Shisui die. We saw him fall off of a cliff, but in anime that's basically a nice and warm vacation. Shisui also had a Mangekyo, a completely unrelated one, but still he had one. Yes, there isn't really much to go on for Shisui, but a lot of people were really convinced it was him. Now, a more promising candidate was Izuna Uchiha. For those of you who might have forgotten, Izuna was Madara's younger brother, who he got the eternal Mangekyo from, after being mortally wounded by Tobirama. The reason it could have been Izuna is, well, he has a Mangekyo? Maybe it makes some thematic sense. Who better to impersonate Madara than his own brother? Outside of that angle, there wasn't really any reason it could have been Izuna otherwise. Now, there is one somewhat reasonable theory, that being said that Toby is actually Fugaku, Itachi and Sasuke's father. This theory hinges on the fact that Toby had to become someone who knew the Leaf Village super well, had to have some history with people like Kakashi and Guy, and needed to be an Uchiha at the same time. Given what we know and the Uchiha massacre, it also wasn't that insane to believe that Fugaku would have had a pretty big grudge against the Leaf. By this point, I don't think we saw the moment Itachi actually kills his father, and if they aren't dead on the screen in an anime, that means they're probably alive and well. It's not the worst idea in the world, I'll say that much. There also was the idea that Toby was the actual Sage of Six Paths. How was the Sage still alive? Well, he is the Sage of Six Paths. He probably had a way. As for why he was pretending to be Toby, I actually like this bit a lot. The idea goes that after splitting the 10 tails, the sage eventually realized how terrible an idea it was and was working to fix his mistake. Obviously, there was a mountain of issues with this theory even at the time, but it would have been a pretty cool angle though, wouldn't it? I think these are all the serious candidates for who Toby could have been. Every other theory people had was usually just one meant more as a joke rather than an honest-to-God projection. For instance, the Ichiraku ramen guy being Toby was something I read at the time, but I'm pretty sure nobody actually meant it. I hope. Back when Toby's identity was close to being revealed, I lived with roommates at the time and the evidence was stacking up to be Obito, but we had wished so hard against this that we begged it to be the Ichiraku ramen guy. It made sense, right? He had served customers from Leaf Ninja like Jonin, the higher-ups, Danzo, the Anbu, and the Hokage themselves, all the way to disgraced Leaf Ninja like Orochimaru and Itachi. He would have heard it all and seen it all, but overall he has no connection to anyone in the story beyond ramen, so I had to throw this one away. We were definitely left being disappointed. Now, finally, and this is the funniest and maybe the dumbest candidate for who Toby could have been, it's just some random Uchiha. Yup, a lot of people thought that Toby was just some random Uchiha we hadn't been introduced to yet, who had just come across the jutsu and powers we saw in the show. If Toby had been just some random Uchiha, it probably would have been the worst reveal imaginable. Now, you'll notice that discussing all of these theories, the only one that makes sense is Obito. In fact, it makes so much sense that even considering any other possibility just seems silly. It makes you wonder, why do people bother at all? Well, I think everyone just thought it was too obvious. Kishimoto wouldn't do that, would he? Obviously, he has some clever trick he pulled at the last second, and we're all too smart to fall for it. And this is the exact sentiment that me and my roommates thought all of those years ago. Ironically, Obito being as obvious as he was still made the reveal hit for a lot of people because they expected it. Funny, isn't it? Honestly, thank God it was Obito. It was obvious and glaringly obvious in hindsight, but so what? A good twist doesn't come out of nowhere. A good twist is meant to make you go, aha, I knew that thing that happened 100 episodes ago meant something. Besides, given Obito's past with Kakashi and how it recontextualized the 4th grade ninja war, I don't even know how you'd make any other reveal be more satisfying. It was a massive oh damn moment when Obito tells Kakashi he was doing all this because he let Rin die. What can top that? Would any other answer actually make sense, and will we be satisfied with the answer in the end? I do think it was perhaps a little too obvious. Another example of a twist that makes sense in hindsight, but is less obvious, is, say, Bertolt and Reiner being Titans, something you'd completely miss except on a rewatch, but still makes perfect sense. Besides, it isn't like Naruto was hinging on who Toby was. If we talk about some of the worst twists in anime, then the Toby reveal doesn't even come close. What about Erased? Erased is a murder mystery, and like any mystery, the whole point is solving it. Well, that would be great if the mystery wasn't so comically easy to solve that just about everyone solved it in the first 6 episodes. Compared to something like that, Obito being Toby is downright Shakespearean. All in all, with years of hindsight behind us, I can pretty confidently say that I'm glad Toby was Obito. It gives the whole series a through line that it wouldn't have otherwise. The series is all about Naruto and Sasuke and their clashing ideals. Well, Obito is a Naruto who lost his way, and Kakashi is a Sasuke who never did. That's the kind of parallel that makes unpredictability worth it. So, this is still just my opinion, and I can't blame you if you're a little disappointed. What do you think? Do you like the Toby is Obito reveal? Did you have some crackpot theory of your own at the time? Be sure to let everyone know in the comments. If I wanted to give everyone one takeaway from this video, it would be that a lot of foreshadowing isn't a bad thing at all. Besides, even when everyone knows the secret, the journey of uncovering it can still be pretty fun. Many thanks to everyone that watched until the end. Please like, comment, and subscribe for anyone that had or owns a ninja headband when Naruto first started running in part 1. Hope you're enjoying the content. TK out.